You know what? I just thought of something, because I've got all this important news to cover on this live Sunday edition. Already the 14th day of December, 2014. I thought, why don't I open the phones up? Because we're on a lot of conservative radio stations around the country that have everything from constitutionalists to mainline rhinos listening. And I hear you guys calling into talk radio, calling into affiliates I'm on, saying, we need to get tough. I like torture. It's good. Oh, yeah. We lose the moral high ground when we do that. Then you get into the fact that our government's been funding radical Islam and allowing it to grow and attack so they can take our liberties. But just at the basic level of, you can't stoop down to somebody else's level and not become dirty. In fact, I saw ISIS. Will you guys reprint this? It was all over the news for Friday. You know, IS, Al-Qaeda, criticizes U.S. for torture report. I think they called us infidels, the words kafar or something. That's the group that tortures constantly and chops heads off and abuses little kids and stuff and kills them and forces people to suicide bomb or they'll shoot their families. I just love that scum of the earth group. You don't get much scummier. It's not propaganda that radical Wahhabists are just as bad as you can get. It's like an army of Charlie Mansons or something. I mean, they're nuts. Just look at their eyes and then look at the fruits of what they do. They are bad news. But the big mega banks hold their chain of financing and allow them to operate, to menace the world and giving up our freedoms. And then they say, oh, let us torture them at Camp X-Ray. They got a bunch of 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds there that were conscripted in Afghanistan and stuff and forced to fight. And then you turn around after 8-9 years of captivity, they end up being released to run ISIS brigades. You know why? Because it's on record. They're CIA, Mossad, Shin Bet, Turkish intelligence, Pakistani intelligence, double agents. They are produced in those torture facilities. They are prepared. They are broken. Just like Mandela was broken, whether you think he was a good guy or a bad guy, in 30-something years in prison, he came out run by the Major De Beers Oppenheimer interest to be the front man. Well, they take some 17-year-olds, some of them 14 years old, put them in Camp X-Ray. For some of them have been out 10 years, and then they're released, and they just keep showing up commanding armies. They're cutouts, folks. They're cutouts. And if you look at how they would produce child soldiers in Africa, it was with torture. Africa has a formulae, African countries, African warlords, for this, and the CIA has adopted it, and it is despicable. So beyond torture, they're producing child soldiers, not just at X-Ray. That's just the public promotion prison. They got over 100 black or ghost sites all over the world. We're going to break it all down, and I'm going to open the phones for people that want to come on and say how great all of this is. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com. Stay with us. Introducing Secret 12, the new InfoWars Life Vitamin B12 formulation. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. That's why for real results, so many are having to turn to painful B12 injections, which are known to have higher absorption rates. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical-grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's the Alex Jones Show, because there is a war on for your mind.
Waging war on corruption, crashing through the lies and disinformation. We're live every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, and back weekdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com are the major news sites. You can follow us on Twitter at RealAlexJones. Let me just calmly lay out the top stories today. Mikhail Thalen of Infowars.com. Police say armored military vehicles, quote, needed for war with constitutionalists, close quote, with firearms. Quote, we've got a lot of constitutionalists, a lot of people that stockpile weapons that will, quote, be taking enemy fire from. This out of a county in Washington State, the big MRAPs from Iraq. Now, here's the issue. Big cities probably need things like this because they might actually run into bank robbers or terrorist groups occasionally. And it's certainly useful to protect police that are moving into an area. But the main deployment of this to even small towns in the training manuals that we've gotten from the FBI and federal marshals, I mean, we're the ones that usually break those. I mean, everybody knows that. It was a secret, 7 years ago. Now it's public. That it's for returning veterans, gun owners, Tea Partiers, and they teach the police that a civil war is coming. This is the 5th clip that I've seen in 2014. In fact, I'm going to have Watson tomorrow for Infowars.com, I think, do a blurb article showing the last 4 or 5 articles. It's probably more, but I was able to pull up 4 or 5 other examples this year where police chiefs and others to the media say we need these tanks for the constitutionalist. So the point is not a debate about do they need this or not. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Let the police have full auto. Let them have armor. Let them have whatever if it's a major metropolitan area or whatever, because nowadays, who knows, drug cartels, I mean, look at Mexico. But it's for the American people, and it's for groups that are not committing crimes. It was never set up to fight al-Qaeda. They first started deploying this stuff after 9/11, and it's always used, and they say for Waco-style stuff. Well, they started the fight at Waco. They could have arrested Koresh any time. I interviewed the sheriff. He was on record saying he was in town every day. They had a business in town. He jogged up the property every morning. We said arrest him if you've got proof of him molesting kids. And instead they went and opened fire on the building to set a precedent of attacking the American people, to demonize that cult. Probably was a cult. A lot of what they said about him wasn't true, but it was a cult. I know the Davidians. A lot of them. Some are very nice people. But some of them were cult-like. Doesn't matter. You don't blow it up and burn it down with the Delta Force. That's who was there. I watched the C-SPAN hearings. I'll be on other radio shows, and I'll bring that up. And they go, oh, Delta Force, yeah, right. They don't even know that was in the official congressional report. Our military there murdering those people. We have the FLIR footage from the helicopters and from the aircraft that the FBI was forced to release in court, with the troops behind the tanks in an infantry maneuver shooting up the building and shooting people that were trying to get out the back. Now, I'm digressing with a history lesson there. The point is that's coming up. Police, armored military vehicles needed for constitutionalists with firearms. I'm going to cover that, though, in the next hour. The video is on Infowars.com right now. There is a major arms buildup for a war on American gun owners during national gun confiscation. That's a fact. That's what the federal government is training for, and they now admit it. And it's treasonous. Just like Obama signing an executive order to legalize the illegals and let them bring in their families and legalize people that have aggravated felonies. And the Republicans are not blocking it. The Republican leadership, just like the Republican leadership just voted on this giant spending bill that has what we warned you of last week, provisions bigger than the banker bailout to write off all derivatives in the future as they get ready for the next big collapse. That'll make 2008 look like a cakewalk, look like a blip compared to an explosion. Derivatives are bigger than they were 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And they are writing these treasonous bills that are set to pass the Senate. It's going to the president's desk. In fact, it passed the Senate. Ted Cruz came out and said it's a nightmare. Rand Paul's come out and said it's highly destructive. We're going to go over those voting numbers. That's coming up later in the hour as well. Two examples of media censorship I want to look at overseas that tie into what's now starting to happen here under political correctness rubrics. China will arrest you if you play the national anthem outside of an official state function. And that dovetails where they're trying to pass laws where you can't burn the American flag. I don't like burning the American flag. But if you take somebody's First Amendment right to do it, you've now become China. Then they could do it on every other subject. And then I've got another one. Turkey arrests 27, including police and media, for criticizing the president, who's basically a dictator. Turkish police officers and media workers are detained in Roundup. That's in the New York Times. And, of course, we're allies with them, the crooks that run our country, so they just call it, oh, they were detained. That's like on The Running Man, written by Stephen King. When you're disappeared, they go, oh, he was just detained, and you're really dead. See how they use words to play these games? Oh, we heard you criticize. Oh, but we don't call Turkey a tyranny. You just say, I don't like the president. You're disappeared into a Turkish dungeon. And let me tell you, out of all the torturers, Turkish torture is known as some of the worst. In fact, the old joke is, it's worse than a Turkish prison. Oh, but Turkey's good. They're not radical. They're not bad. They're the worst in the Middle East next to Saudi Arabia. And they're being merged into the EU. How'd you like to have that country merged into you? And they slaughtered all those Armenians. The list goes on and on. This is just some of what's going on. All right, I said I'd play this, so we're going to play it. I had the article here in front of me. I'll try to find it right now. But it's in Washington State. It's up on Infowars.com if you want to see it. And we've got the name of the sheriff's department. And this wouldn't be a big deal if it hadn't been a whole bunch of other sheriff's departments. They say, why do you have these MRAP armored vehicles? Well, we're getting ready to take fire from the Constitutionalists. They got guns. And they're just getting ready for a civil war, which hadn't even started yet, but they're going to stage terror attacks to get the local cops believing all this to march off to war to kill each other. It's been one of my prime internal directives to expose this. There's the headline: police armored military vehicles needed for constitutionalists with firearms. That's in Washington State. If you scroll down, I'll give people the county. But it's there in the article. That's in Spokane Valley. Let's go ahead and play this short clip, and I'll go back to your calls.
The nice thing about this piece of equipment is that if somebody is directing fire toward a team that's trying to get in, they can pull right up to a front. Take enemy fire and still try to address a threat without being fear of getting shot.
So I'm thinking that is totally appropriate in Iraq, but what kind of a situation in the U.S. would you see that happening?
I mean, we've got a lot of constitutionalists and a lot of people that stockpile weapons, a lot of ammunition. I mean, we've got a lot of constitutionalists and a lot of people that stockpile weapons, a lot of ammunition. They have weapons here locally.
Oh no, they have weapons here locally. And yeah, if you declare all the kids belong to government and everybody's got to go to a work camp, like Bill Ayers taught Obama to do. Bill Ayers, by the way, is challenging me to a debate. We're going to do it the next few weeks. I mean, just listen, the government wants all the guns. It's illegitimate, and it says we're bad having them. Do you have a few right-wing nutbags going to shoot stuff up? Yeah. Less dangerous than honeybees. They kill 200-something a year. Right-wingers kill a couple dozen. I don't want to kill all the honeybees because they kill people sometimes. What's dangerous is the pharmaceuticals. What's dangerous is the vaccines. What's dangerous is the high fructose corn syrup. What's dangerous is the fluoride. That's killing millions of people a year. It's worse than tobacco. And I'm sick of it. They got all the cops and special operations police just ready for war. Are you guys smart enough to see the big picture? I know a lot of you are, but this isn't a game. They're getting ready to start it. I'm going to say this again. I'm staying out of the whole thing. They blow something up and blame it on me like they blamed Rush Limbaugh for Oklahoma City. Remember that? Within 25 minutes, they blamed him. And the very people that blamed Rush Limbaugh on talk radio were the ones that did it. I'm not going to reopen that can of worms. I've interviewed the cops, the firefighters, the medical workers, the generals, everybody. I mean, we know who blew up Oklahoma City. And let me tell you, it was called Justice Department and ATF. And cops would expose it, and the government would come in their office and say, you and your wife are going to be dead if you don't shut your mouth. Don Browning and other police officers have come on this show via video Skype and said it. And let me tell you, Don Browning, veteran, Vietnam, highly decorated, turned white when I asked him. I said, go ahead and say their names. You know why he turned white? Because despite all his incredible courage, he realized how dangerous it was to say the names. And he stuck his chest out and said their names on air. That's what this show's all about. I'm sticking my chest out. And if I get crushed doing this, I ask for it because I'm a man. I'm not a coward. And never forget it. I'm not signing on to this evil ever. And all of you people that want to serve it can go straight to hell because you're not getting my soul. You understand that? And the minute you sign on to this, you sign your soul over. So I'm here to make sure everybody knows exactly what's going on so you can choose a side. That's all God wants. John in Colorado, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, let's say you're going down, and it's interesting you brought up the 97 bombing because that's
95.
when I got in trouble. Yeah. Anyway, let's say you're going down the street, the cop pulls you over, he says, roll down the window, and then he basically does anything he wants to do with you. That's what it is when you sanction torture.
Yeah, pain compliance in the threat continuum. They teach cops they can torture you to follow orders, which is not true if the officer's life is not in danger. It's a misappropriation, and you're absolutely right.
Let me put it to you this way. When the government, the state, sanctions that it's okay for this huge amalgamation of whatever agencies to come down on one person and do whatever they want to them, and then say, "Oh yeah, we did make a few mistakes."
And he was a terrorist after we tortured him for 5 years. He confessed to everything. It's bull when North Korea does it, and it's bull when we do it. And the minute we sign on to it, we've lost our souls. Anything else? I think you said it all there, brother. Patricia in Arizona, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi.
Go ahead. Welcome.
These people were really upsetting me because I want due process for not just for me. I want it for everyone because if they can do it to them today, they can do it to me tomorrow.
It's just like cop killers saying a cop beat me up, so I'm going to go shoot a random cop. It's the exact same thing. You don't just take people's rights away, whoever they are.
They need to ask themselves, what if it was their kid who got picked up and they were being accused of something that they knew they didn't do? Are they still going to feel that way, that it's okay for them to just torture them till they confess, you know? No, this is so wrong.
Remember that New York case where there was a fight at a bar, so the cops grabbed like 6 people, and then they sodomized one with a broken toilet plunger, and it said like 6 hours? How do you sit there sodomizing someone for 6 hours with a toilet plunger? And the cops admitted they did it. I mean, what type of freaks do stuff like that? Remember that case?
No, but I'm glad because I don't want to ever have that image in my mind.
In fact, I forget the name. Guys, Google New York toilet plunger rape. It was a famous case. I got the name, but I don't want to say it wrong. Just let's check it. I hear you, ma'am. Absolutely, it's common sense. Would Jesus Christ support torture? No, he was tortured. And they thought it was reasonable what they did to him. Well, I'm not for it. Spencer in Florida, you're on the air worldwide.
Hello?
Yep, go ahead, Spencer.
Oh, okay. First of all, I have your super male vitality, and my girlfriend has your super female vitality. I also have your secret 12. She has your secret 12. I got my dad your oxy powder.
Let me ask you a question. Did it perform as claimed?
Yes, it's amazing. The super male vitality, I'm lifting heavier weight. My girlfriend's feeling better. She has much more energy.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it's super concentrated, like 8 or 9 known herbs. I say 8 because the male has 8, the female has 9. It's just concentrated, cold-pressed, hardcore herbs that are known to just healthily, because it doesn't mimic testosterone. It gets your body to release it. And I'm telling you, it is firecracker.
Yeah, it's all natural. And my dad, he lost his stomach. It's amazing.
No, it's like natural Viagra.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get... They suppress us with GMOs and with estrogen mimickers. So we just came out with like the Bentley at a low price of super hardcore herbs. It's amazing.
And I'm a 21-year-old male. I'm healthy and everything, and it works for me. So it can definitely work for a 40-year-old or whatever.
Well, thank you for the plug. What's your take on torture?
Yeah, so about torture, I'm way against it. I mean, but it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what God thinks. And if this country is resorting to torture, we are not under the protection of God anymore, especially with all the other stuff we're doing, abortion, I mean, everything we're doing. So the main question I have for you is when it's going to be too late to kind of move to a safe haven. Like I just got done watching your movie on strategic relocation, and I'm just wondering, the guy said 2015, and I've been researching Warren Buffett trying to make enough money to get everything under control and everything.
Yeah, sure. You got Trump saying collapse. I don't know when it's coming, but it's engineered to do so and have a civil war where we all kill each other and the police, and I'm just not going to be part of it. So I've tried to strategically relocate with a little redoubt out in the hill country. The big thing is just try to wake people up so this doesn't happen, but it is in the cards. God bless you. I'm out of time. There's a worldwide collapse. It's called Agenda 21, Cloward and Piven. It's being carried out. We're trying to stop it. Pray for peace. Pray for justice. Don't fight with each other. Come together for liberty. The average person's a good person. They just aren't aware of what's happening. Warn people. Great job to the crew. Infowars.com has a lot of news we didn't cover. I'll see you back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central. Great job to the crew. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Hey, now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.